Hi, this is Cheryl of Majestic Wire Artworks. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful earrings that I've called woven teardrop earrings with a curl. And I have your supplies in the description as per normal. And the first thing I want to do is show you how to do the weave that we're using here. And it's a 3/4 weave. You might know how to do that already, so you could skip by that portion if you do. And I'm going to demonstrate it with shorter lengths of wire, just so that I'm not fighting with the wire with the camera. Okay, so I've got two pieces for one earring, two pieces of 28 gauge, two pieces of 20 gauge and one piece of 28 gauge. So you will be having two 6.5 lengths of 20 gauge and a 3-foot length of 28 gauge per earring. So that would be double that, 4 and 2. And I'll have it in metric in the description as well. Okay, so just to get it started, I've got the tail on top, and I've wrapped around the one wire once, and I'm lassoing in the second wire. So I've got it underneath the wire there, and I'm coming through the two wires like that. And so virtually I've just wrapped around the second wire like that, and that just holds them together to make it work easier. Now we want to have our wire starting from the right, approximately 2.25 to 2.5 inches to be the beginning work. But if you work loosely, like I'm going to show you, you can slide your wire with a piece of pliers, if you need to adjust your length. Okay, so we've got the two pieces lassoed in. I'm going to go down underneath, up both, come around at the top, and I'm going to go down between the two wires like that. Okay, and now I'm going to go around and over top of the two top wires, and I'm going to come up between the two wires. Okay, and now I'm going to go underneath again, come around, let go. So we've bent the wire to hold it in position to keep it neat. Now we've let the tension go so that it doesn't get too tight. And okay, so it's starting to make a pattern that you can see. Okay, so we've got a long line, two short lines, a long line, two short lines like that. Okay, and it looks really neat. It's a pretty pattern. And it's the same from both sides. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm coming up the bottom and do the top loop. Oops, there we go. And now over the top. And come up through the two bottom. From the bottom between the two wires. Okay, I usually do about 8 to 10 patterns, and then I compress it. Either you can compress it with your chain nose pliers like this, where you almost have it tight, and then just grip them and push them, or you can do your fingers. Okay, so I want you to weave about 1 3/4 inches of weaving. It doesn't have to be exact. The measurement where you start doesn't have to be exact, because we're going to be cutting off the end. And so don't stress about that. I've got you doing a little bit extra because we need a little bit extra to snip away and make it look neat. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and do your weaving for your both earrings. So you're going to do it twice over. Okay, so I'll pause the movie and I'll be getting mine done and you can get yours done. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back with my 2 lengths of weaving. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to trim off the bottom. You're going to have a length of wire, and we're going to trim it off to get it out of our way. 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, anything like that. It's not vital to know exactly how long. But the end that's in the center of your 20 gauge, this one, we're going to snip it right to next to the weave and crimp it in. And we're going to work at making both earrings pretty much at the same time because it's important for certain steps just to make it easier to make them more similar. I mean, you could do it one totally separate from the other, but chances are you'd end up with one bigger than the other, more so, or some differences. Okay, got that. Okay, so you might have one side of the weave that looks nicer than the other. Choose the one that's nicer to be the front. And what we want to do at this point is, because we want to do a right and a left and we want them going opposite directions, we're going to pull one wire this way from your front and then do the opposite with the other one, and then set one down exactly the way you have it off to the side, and so it doesn't flip over, because trust me, it's easy with these earrings to end up making 2 right earrings or 2 left earrings. Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is this angle. I want it to be fairly crisp. Okay, and then we're going to take our beads. Okay, and slide it on the wire that we bent to the side. And try to give it, get it tight up to the weave and try and give it a sharp bend right there. And then we're going to wrap it around the bead behind the weave. So the weave's sitting in front. And then around the bead like that. Now I go down first because it's usually messy here because of this bend. So this way it gives it a clean, crisp bend around. Okay, now I'm at the back of the earring and we're gonna snip this wire off here. We're gonna bend in the end so there's no pokey sharpness. So snip it. Not too long, but not too short either. So probably about, gee, why don't I measure it? So I'm not even sure what length that would be. My voice is going away tonight. Okay, so that's 1/4 of an inch, which would be about 8 millimeters, I would think. Okay, so give it a little bend at the end. Crimp it as flat as you can. I was looking over the camera, so I lifted it up. Okay. And now we want to put it underneath this wire so that it's going to end up being between the weave and this wire. So it kind of keeps it locked in place. Okay, hopefully that's not going to stick out too much. I'm going to try crimping it closer or tighter. I tightened it up. Okay. So that's the back. This is the front. Now the weave twisted on me here. It's at an angle instead of flush. I'm just going to straighten that. Like that. And now, so this is going to be the top of the earring, and this is going to be the bottom. But I'm going to hold it upside down just because it's easier to hold. And we're going to use the shape of the bead to form the weave. So we're going to wrap it around. And you might have to adjust that on a fairly regular basis because we do want it to sit fairly flat. But I'm really, really squeezing gently with the pliers. Okay. Okay, so now I tried and I tried and I tried to make the measuring of what size of teardrop for you to make it easier for you. And I just found that if you do a measurement, it's just going to mess you up. So you really have to, the first one you do, it's whatever you think looks nice. And then the second one, you have to eyeball it and match up the size as best you can. And yeah, I was going to say, you know, measure 1.5 centimeters, put a line on your wire, then put your weave on it. And then I found that you end up kinking the wire or something like that, and it's just not worth it. So you're better off just doing, you know, doing it freely and then try and match the second one for the size. So, okay, so we've got that about halfway, you know, the bottom done. Now the next thing I want to do is do the little loop, the little swirl. And what you need to do is come into the bead and just do a nice little swirl. Now this swirl looks like it's ornamental, but really what it's doing is multi-purpose. It's making it look neater against the edge of the bead, and it's giving a spring to this wire so that it doesn't get kinked or damaged easy because it's got give, right? If you take a wire that doesn't have a spring to it, it'll bend and it'll stay. but this kind of, it's like a safety pin, you know, where it's got the spring and it's got the give, but it's got a give where it's gonna just bounce back. So what I want you to do is see how the curve of the weave is there. We kind of want to follow suit with the bare wire so that it looks right. So you see that? So it's following the outside basically, and you want it to look nice, and the weave has to go in front, and then you got to decide how big you want it. And now I'm going to give you, for instance, I got here, I'll take two right-handed ones. Okay, so this one's made a little bit bigger, and this one I've actually made it a little bit shorter, and they both are beautiful. This one's kind of cuter, more cute. I don't know if there's a word, such a word as cute. Yeah, there's such a word as cuter. And so you can choose how you want to do that. Oh, come on. Now we're out of focus. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to move that over because we want it to be equal on both sides. There. I'm thinking my plier down below is bothering the camera. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to move that a little bit. Does that look nice? So you have to decide, and then you need to hold them together to support and bend this around so it folds behind itself. Okay, and now we're going to snip it. Not too short, but not too, well, it's better to be too long because we can always shorten it. But we want it to be able to hug around the wire to give it support. So we don't want it too long. And you're just going to snip the whole thing right. Okay, and now you take your chain nose pliers with the point and you bend it under so it touches itself. Sometimes the weave gets away on you, and I mean, it's not that important. And I try not to touch the front of the earring with the pliers because it really distorts the weave. If you can do it all just by doing this, that's the best. Okay, so that's that part. So you might want to go at this point, do exactly what we did with this one with your other side. So it was laying flat so that you remembered which side to put the bead. So you're going to hold that up like that. We're going to make that corner sharp. Get your bead. Right, yeah, I'm just thought I got mixed up and got my two sides, but no, I'm doing it the right way. Okay, and I'm bending it down and up and around. I'm going to snip it off there. Gonna make a small little loop, crimp it shut or flat. And bend it up to the bead. Okay. So that's the back. So I actually wanted this on the other side. Nope. No, I didn't. What am I? Okay, got mixed up there. So we want it on this side. So when this is the front of the earring, we want that between this wire and the weave that'll go in front of it. Okay. Now we're going to take the weave and put it around the bottom, shape it. Adjust as you need. Sometimes you'll get a kink in here. Don't let that stress you too much. You just unbend it and then re-bend it again. Tight against the bead. Okay, so now I'm going to do another loop. So we're going in towards the bead. We try and match the size of the other earring. Okay, so it's there. And now we spring it. I curved my wire, so I was straightening it like this. Push the curl against the bead. Okay, now I'm going to try and make the same size as the other one. And that's difficult to do behind the camera. I'm going to hold this one backwards. So I need to make it smaller, I'd say. Okay, I think they're both there. These ones are smaller than my first pair I made. Okay, now I'm going to hold it together, support it, and bend. Just make sure that it's okay. Looks like this one might be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to loosen up my weave. Kind of, whoops, loosen it up, back off a little bit, and make it a tiny bit bigger. There, that looks better. Okay, So now I need to move this so it's behind itself. Snip it off. Oh, that one curled up really nice. That's just perfect. Okay. Not distorted. I can see that, so I'm gonna just go like this. So it goes behind itself better. Okay, so now to make the loop on top, because it's not the traditional loop, it's kind of an artistic loop. And it sits to the side, and that's intentional. It's part of the design, but it does hang properly. It goes centered, so that's good. It's kind of like a yin-yang in a way, where it's a little off-centered, but yet balanced. So I chose to have the size of my loop rounded at the top and then teardrop. It's an upside down teardrop. So I want it to have some length before I start curving the wire. And I've chosen this length and I marked it with permanent marker on my pliers. So I do both earrings the same. Okay, and I think that would be about 2 millimeters wide. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going here, I'm hugging the plier next to the weave, grab onto the wire at that mark, and now I'm just manually curving the wire like that. So it's got that shape. And now I want to do, before we do anything else, I want to do the same thing with the other earring. Okay. So I got it there. Gotta hug the weave a little bit better. Okay. Come on, focus, focus. Okay, now I want to see if they're approximately the same size. Okay, I think they're pretty good. Now this needs to be pulled this way. And now you're saying, well, they don't look quite right on the top. And that's okay, because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your round nose pliers and you're just going to round out the top if they're a little bit wonky, and it'll straighten them out. Okay, like that. And now we're going to hold this little teardrop and we're going to bend this wire upwards. And then we're going to snip it and fold it back upon itself, just like we did the weave, but in the opposite direction. Okay, I can see it in the front, so I'm going to grab it and fix it like, whoops, sorry. I just went like this and it fixed it. And there. Okay, that one's ready to put the ear wire on. And now I'm going to do the same with this one. And it's a tiny bit bigger, so I'm just going to make it a tiny bit smaller. I'm going to snip that. Check it from the front, and that looks good. Okay, and they're ready to put the ear wires on. These are actually quite fairly quick to work up. Once you get the technique down, it's there we go. Once you get the technique down, they're quite enjoyable to make. I found with the weaving I got carried away, and on the one I actually made it longer than it needed to be, just because it's so relaxing. Okay, and then the other one. Okay, and they're done. Wow, I love these guys. They're so elegant. Okay, thank you for joining me. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.